Yo, YouTubers! Yo, YouTubers! I've got a beer review for you. I'm sure I've reviewed this. I'm not too sure. I bought it thinking, never tried this before, but I bet you it's there somewhere. But let's just suppose I'm going to see now. I don't know, I forgot. And I'll do it again, but I wanted to do that follow-up thing I did about the Oasis story, and I was like, I'm going to put it in this review. Okay, guys, because I was going to put a video up thinking, I'll explain that picture I did, and but I just couldn't isolate it and just sit there and go press record and talk about the picture. I thought, I've got to be having a bevy to talk, you know what I mean? I'm totally sober now. I'll just go and get the picture in question. You know, the picture. I'll just show you before we go on. Do you remember this? My crazy work of art that, I said, this picture was inspired by an Oasis song, Bring It On Down, right? Not the actual picture itself. I'll explain the backstory, okay? Where I believe, or why I believe it materialised in my head, and I'll try and explain it in a psychological, visionary, because I'm a visionary, that's what I do with my songs and stuff. If none of you have noticed it, guys, I don't put my songs on YouTube or anything like that because I want to be people go, oh, I want to buy this or get it on Spotify, or you meant to put your headphones on and close your eyes. And there's a vision in it. I'm a visionary. I don't sell records. I don't make any money with my music. I don't do anything like that. I just write the songs for myself and I put my headphones on and it works with me. The visionary element works. And I go, in fact, the only way I can convey visionary elements is you listen to the music because it comes from my fingertips and my own playing and my own mind, you know what I mean? But anyway, let's get on with the beer review first. Let's kick into the merry factor and let's get merry and let's have a little talk. I'd like to be doing this live, but I don't trust the phone. You use a phone for live streaming. It's poo. Camera angles, oh well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure I've reviewed this. Sure, I've reviewed it, but if I forgot, you've got to realise I might go see it. Like Bruce Willis, you know what I mean? I'm Bruce Williams. I had a late night decision, I was got about 8 o'clock, something like that, 9 o'clock. And I'm like, look, my last chance saloon is getting up to Tesco's Extra because it's a Sunday, nowhere else is open. I'm just trying to pick up a beer, to have it just because it's warm and I'm dead thirsty and the way it is. I'm really pissed off, guys, I was Birkenhead Park, they had a festival today and yesterday. And I only got told the day before it happened, so I wasn't really onto it. If I'd known, I'd have gone out of my way to go and see it. But Fee Day, these fellas. Look, I bought this album back in when it was released, It's got a free DVD in it and everything's great. But I bought this, and it's a classic rock album. If anyone's never listened to it, look, there's the price, look. $10.99 I paid for it, And one of them bands that go under the radar, aren't they? And but they're a great band, But this album is so different and original, and strange. Highly recommend it, But they were in Birkenhead Park, guys, in the festival yesterday. And you know what? I could hear them from my balcony. I can hear them from my veranda. I can stand on my veranda and I could hear the band playing. I could hear the song, what's it called? All by myself. I don't want to let you down. Let You Down. I could hear them playing that. I could hear all the songs, every song they played. I don't ever recognise some of them were new songs, I suppose. But they sounded incredible, you know what I mean? I was like, even from my balcony, I was like, oh my word, they sound kick-ass there, mate. And then just up the road, 25 quid it would have cost, something like that. I could have seen Feeder right up the road. I could have shot myself, mate. I've never seen them live, you know what I mean? Could have shot myself. I'm a bit like sort of down about that one, like, you know what I mean? I was like, they're just up the road. But honestly, the sound was phenomenal. They sound fantastic. Right, let's read the can. I know this beer, like I say, this beer review is intended to be a waffle. Alright, if anyone watches this beer review, because I've had complaints in beer reviews, guys going, look man, just saw about the beer, don't go on about stuff, what's the problem? Say, well, I'm not a normal beer reviewer, I admit that. I'm not like the normal beer reviewers. I'm a pisshead. This shares my first time experience if I'm not being senile. Like, sure, I've done this before. Oh no. I share my first time experiences drinking beers. I'm not really an official beer reviewer. I should be doing art and music and stuff like that on my channel, but I'm a bit lazy at the moment. I'm just using gaming and beer reviews to fill the gaps, aren't I? Right. So, you know, this will be a philosophical discussion about me painting influenced by Oasis with a beer review. Okay, look at it that way. If you don't want to watch me waffle about the picture, beer review starting now. You can go off when I finish the beer review. Okay. Because when I'm merry and the beer kicks in, I feel like talking. Do you understand? At the moment, I feel sterile and like a piece of cardboard. You know me. Jubel. It's Jubel session. Nice and quick and easy. Jubel beer session. 4%. Cut with peach. Nice and easy to type in the search, isn't it? Jubel was the name of a song played at the height of Apres, the place we discovered beer peach. Pints flowing, sun shining, music pumping. Slopeside. Send in session. Jubel means a feeling of extreme joy, jubilation. And we exist to bring this experience to everyone. A lively lager that packs a fruity punch. This dangerously refreshing nectar drips with fresh, juicy peaches. We believe in using business as a force for good. We're a certified B Corp, which means we meet the highest standards of social and environmental performance, transparency and accountability. Dangerously refreshing, certified B Corporation. Hangovers hurt. Enjoy responsibly. Jubel Limited, Kensington Lane, London. Okay. So, oh my word, it's gluten free. It's gluten free as well. Look. So if our skid ever catches this one, it's a gluten free beer, which is good. The more gluten free beers, the better, guys. You know what I mean? Because I like getting everyone I know pissed. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? You know me. You come into like within 10 feet of me, I'm gonna get you pissed. If you know me, you've got to get pissed. That's the way it is. Unless we're professional, we're working on stage or something, or we're doing a gig or something like that, or playing football, you know. You come near me, you've got to get pissed. Anyway, let's get the can over. Let's see what we've got. Because I'm up LER. Me. Session beer. Says Jubel beer session, 4%. And it describes it as a lager. I thought this was going to be like an IPA type thing, you know, but what a lager. Well, if it's got peaches in it, it might be different, mightn't it? You know, my lager out there is, oh man, that's crystal clear. It's almost watery, it's like very pale yellow. Very pale yellow. Oh, very pale. Ultra clear. Looks like a kind of soft drink, you know what I mean? It doesn't look it. I tell you what, it looks nice in the glass, I've got to say. Just move the little fellas out the way. The little beans there, like these beans. I put them on my netbook right in front of it so they can watch the screen. I know you might laugh, but I used to do bananas as well. Draw eyes on a banana, right? And put it in front of the telly, you know, like sort of in a seated position. And you began to see that banana and watch the telly, you know what I mean? Or YouTube, or, you know, or anything, at the internet. Right, see that? Crystal clear. Lovely pale yellow colour. Very nice. Amber. Pale amber. Maybe, you know, the Precious Stones citrine. Got that look, and what do you call it? Imperial topaz. There are different colours of topaz, you know. Hey. Nice. Peachy. Malty. I'm excited. Really, the main thing is just to get myself wellied. You know, like I've got 2 cans of this. I went up I went on like a desperate like ride up to the off license to Tesco's Extra. And I don't want to get like, you know, have a heavy session. I mean, the other night I drank like 7 of those Seven Brothers Blooms, and I was quite welly, do you know what I mean? I woke up, there was 1 left in the fridge, you know what I mean? There was 8, I bought 8 thinking, I'll have 4 tonight, 4 tomorrow. Never gonna get rid of me fat belly, am I? Right. It smells nice. I'm a bit shocked, I didn't know it was a lager. I wouldn't have bought it really, but you know, it's gluten free. It's got peaches in it. And it's a lager, right? It doesn't say lager on it, does it? It just says, look, no weird lager to suggest. It's like session, 4%, cut with peaches. It's only when I read the description it says it's a lager, like, so nice and simple, lovely simple can design, lovely peach colour. All by myself. Oh, yeah, I could hear them doing. Love him, love how fight the feeling. You know what I mean? Like, oh my word, they sounded amazing, guys. Honestly, I mean, I never knew they were still together. I hadn't heard about them for quite a long time. You know what I mean? Until someone contacted me and said, you know, that band. I remember you saying you like Feeder. They're playing in the park tomorrow. You know what I mean? I was like, it was a bit too late for me. I've got to know in advance. You know what I mean? I was like, oh man. And I woke up in the day and I couldn't hear them doing sound checking and things like that. I couldn't tell there was a festival. And I was thinking, sure it's not today, like some other time or something. So I didn't check it out. I didn't go. I would have gone and bought a ticket and just gone. But I wasn't too sure because I didn't hear any bands and that. And then when they were actually on stage, I could hear them. I was sick, man. I was like, oh my word, they sound unbelievable. You know what I mean? They did sound like thunder, guys. Honestly, like really professional. You know what I mean? Like blown away, really. I mean, I could hear the whole gig, like from my veranda, like. I'm a bit miffed about it. I'm like, alright, let's get into the beer, like let's not like, you know, let's just drown my sorrows and cry, like, you know what I mean? Feed it around the corner, mate. Oh man. Can't believe I missed that, like. Oh, I think we're gonna make it. Gotta see the player. They didn't actually play that as far as I could hear. They didn't actually do Buck Rogers, man. That's crazy, that, isn't it? Alright. It smells nice. It smells fresh. It's gluten free. It's Jubel beer, peach, cut with peach, 4%. Up Elia! Mmm. Ooh, hey. Ooh, hey. I wasn't expecting that. Wow, I was expecting like a really delicate peach flavour, you know what I mean? And it's proper peachy, but with a lovely malty palate. Like Malteser almost level, you know what I mean? Very malty, I love that, you know. Oh, I would have bought more of them, I don't know. I got myself 2 of them and 3 Punk IPA, you know, full size cans in case I need to. It's 17 minutes past 11 on the 20th of July, 2025. So it's getting late, and that's the time when I get sort of tick tock. The shop's gonna shut, Bruce. You're gonna get it. I usually leave my fridge empty. There's no beers in there, nothing. I usually make last minute decisions. I very really stock up my fridge with beers, guys, because I'm always trying to lose weight. That's the main reason. I've got no moral reasons, like, you know. But this is nice, man. This is very refreshing. It's perfect for this warm, sticky. I could hear a thing he did today, like the bands were today in the park. I could hear Pixie Lott. Pixie Lott. She was on. I could tell it was her because she was, she had the only female voice kind of thing. And she sounded good, like, I like her, you know what I mean? I've always liked Pixie Lott, but she's sort of like, I think she's happily married, you know what I mean? But I had a crush on her big time. But she sounded good. She's doing like a comeback tour, isn't she? Pixie Lott, if you're watching that, little toast to you, right? She actually sounds alright, like. I've always thought she's very talented and professional here, you know what I mean? And she's hot, isn't she? Pixie hot, like. Ooh. Oh, man. Oh, that's quite tasty, that, guys. It's quite refreshing. Quite novel. Like novelty beer. Doesn't seem like a lager. It's gluten free as well, so it's got that lightness, that like sort of Miller Lite vibe to it, like, the Miller Lite vibe. Oh wow, it looks crystal clear in the glass. I've noticed gluten free beers usually do, don't they? I could slurp that down effortlessly as like a fruit juice. It's only the malty back taste, the malty, palate that tells you it's a lager or whatever, or a beer. It's quite tasty. That. Oh man, I was expecting that. It was really refreshing. So, we'll be getting to the end of the beer review, but we're going to carry on waffling in there about the Oasis backstory, my little story about my picture. Because, like, thousands of people requested it. Well, it was just one, actually. Said, I would like to hear what you got to say about that, Bruce. Thousands of people, man. I'm sure I've reviewed this before. It'll piss me off, I'm sure I've done it before. I'll have to search my channel and check it, like, and see, like, it does me head in that. It proves I've got a bit of a senile thing going on, I admit it, like, I might go senile as I get older, like. It's now I'm over the initial shock. It's quite tame, it's quite balanced. It doesn't taste like a lager because of the peaches. It tastes like a peach drink, It's got a light, gluten-free vibe about it. It's very nice, very appealing. Can't remember how much I paid for it. Got it in Tesco's Extra, and a little bit expensive in there, aren't they? It's a bit like, not much of a selection in there. The little extra shops, not the big Tesco, not much of a selection. I always have to find it hard to find something new when I go there. Sunday, not much choices though when you're doing your last minute dash, like supermarket sweep. Check it out. Check it out. That's what it's like. It was like, it's getting close to like 11 o'clock and you've got to get up to Tesco Extra, like, and no other shops are selling beer, and you get your basket, you run around like a lunatic, like supermarket sweep, to fill the basket with beers before the shop shuts, like. Remember that programme? Supermarket sweep. You run around like madmen and mad women, like, pushing the shopping trolley, like, getting everything they can for nothing, like. Check it out. Check it out. Right, we're actually getting merry on this. I'm going to do the rating. It's light, it's appealing, it's tasty, it's refreshing. It's making me feel merry. I'm going to grab the other can in a minute, like, because they're only little cans, you know what I mean? I'm going to grab the other can straight away, mate. It's definitely a 10. It's quality. Too easy to drink, that. Get a crate of them, you're laughing. Too easy, that, like. By the way, if anyone's watching, people I might know out there who I usually drink beers with or whatever, or speak to about beers, right? I didn't blank it on Skype. I don't blank anyone. I actually thought, because someone's moving house, they haven't got no internet signal, and the coppers had took your phone and all that stuff, like. I thought, and then I get like a Skype message going, "Why are you blanking me? Yeah, you rat." Yeah. I'm like, alright, bad enough. Not putting up with any of this shit. Right, and I had to take Skype off this netbook thing because I've got a thing coming up going low on disk space and it's unexplainable. And I thought, is it Skype? Because I don't want to raise the messages and the calls, so I cut off the Skype. Still got it on my main computer, but it's not activated, you know what I mean? But the point I'm making is, like, I don't blank anyone, I don't ignore people's calls, I don't ignore people on purpose or anything like that. I genuinely thought, oh, he must know on the internet and that, like. But when you get personal, you call me names and stuff, and you say, why are you trying to ignore me and all that? I say, I'm sorry, mate. Well, not. fucking putting up with that crap anymore. I'm 60 years old, you know what I mean? I'm too old for that kind of crap. So you want to contact me, you go on my YouTube channel, put something in the comments and say, for fuck's sake, But, don't do me in. I'm 60 years old. I can't be asked for all that crap, you know what I mean? I don't do drugs, apart from the odd bit of CBD. I don't have flip outs. I don't have, crack come downs and stuff like that. I don't smoke tobacco. Got no time for all this crap, you know what I mean? Getting old, a bit too old, you know what I mean? Anyway, back in the it's a 10 out of 10 with that one, guys, right? I always say to people, if you really have to communicate with me, go through YouTube first, in the comments section. I don't really use my phone for communication. I hate all that. It's not rocket science, is it? And the Skype thing, like I say, something was stealing me disk space on this netbook. There's like 50 something gigabytes or something, right? And they've all disappeared and it keeps coming up low disk space. I'm going, what's eating up my disk space? You know what I mean? So I'm like a process of elimination or raising loads of files, trying my best, going, whoa, where's all the space going? What's going on with this thing? Is there some kind of secret skeleton key or something? But something's piling data on my disk that I can't work out. And so I thought, right, I'll erase Skype and switch it off in case it's anything to do with that. Because the person in question went, I'm sacking this, but anyway, I'm not going to be going on this anymore. I'm like, look, man, we're grown men here, you know what I mean? Let's stop doing that. Like, don't talk to me like a woman, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? Like women talk to each other on phones and stuff. Where's that coming from? A man that drinks. I'm a pisshead. That's made me feel merry. I'm getting another one. And I'll talk about the picture now, alright? So you can you can turn off now if all he wants is to see is the beer review, like. It's a 10 out of 10. I'll do another one now, like. And you can monitor me at alcoholic effect. I think we're gonna make it. I think we're gonna make it, yeah. So don't you try and fake it anymore. We'll get a copyright strike for singing it, like. Oh, mate, I'm really pissed off about that, I'm like, oh, man, I can't believe that. And I tell you what, man, I'm not kidding you guys. I swear down. They sounded absolutely mega, I was like, oh, I wish I was there now. Can't believe that. Like, the drums and the rhythm section and the bass and everything sounded just pure energy. You know what I mean? Like, you can hear PA systems from a distance, and it's not like, man, they sounded spot on. And I thought they'd split up or something. I hadn't seen them for ages. I was like, wow, why don't I feed them? What's going on? They're from Wales, the Taffies, man. Like, it was like, I see myself as a Taffy more than anything else, you know what I mean? The Taff Pistols, you know what I mean? Not the Sex Pistols, the Taff Pistols. Remember the Taff Pistols? Are you a Taff Pistol? I'm a Taff Pistol. My name, Williams, it's the second most common name in Wales, isn't it? In Cymru. Williams, good German name. Wilhelm, like. Look, man, I don't have to review this. Hang on, the original can. Put the original can over there. Because I collect me cans. You know the ones I can't peel the labels off? I've got a ton of them. I've got a ton of cans I can't peel the labels off. Don't know what I'm going to do with them. So, if anyone out there, anyone out there on YouTube, anyone who watches my beer reviews, right, and you want all my empty cans from my beer reviews that you might have seen on YouTube, you can have them if you want them. Because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm building up my flat like rubbish. I don't know what to do. It's chilled. Alright, listen. Here's the story, right, guys. Me picture. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not religious in the sense I'm not, like a Mary cult and all that kind of stuff. And this is why I'm going to do this talk. I've got full understanding of, the woman who Jesus said, go and sin no more. All the men wanted to stone her to death, didn't he? And he said to them, well, here's the truth of it, right? You study the book and like this is, look, I'm going to talk deep. Everyone's going to say, well, that's like Freemasonry and all that kind of stuff. So let me explain myself, please. This is like a piece of paper. This is a test picture for a painting. You know what I mean? It's not like a real, right? That represents a brooch that my grandmother used to wear. My nan and my dad's mum. She used to always. It was a favourite brooch. She always wore it like. It had a chain around it. See, it had a chain. And it was like a bubble of glass. If you imagine that bit, like a bubble of glass with a picture of Mary. And she was a Catholic, My dad was a Catholic as well, but he hated it, you know what I mean? He was like, hated the system, the school, the teachers, all that business. But she was proper into it, like you could expect an old lady from that generation. Irish blood and Welsh blood, Mainly Irish blood. But yeah, you see that, right? Exactly as I saw it, like I have visionary experience listening to an Oasis track for the very first time. Okay, back on the story, yeah, you with me? And you see the flying lion. The lion was like flying, and the whole brooch was the brooch. I saw the brooch, which is this thing is actually what I've drawn. I'm not trying to draw. I've done my own little representation. See where she's standing on a stone and all that. That's my own little artist's. Look. That's my own little artist's. That's the way I would sort of perceive the woman who Mary of Magdalene, the Mary of Magdalene who Jesus said, listen, they all wanted to stone her to death because she was a bit fly, right? And they all probably knew her well, if you know what I mean, a little bit too well. And they're all probably married. Do you understand the way it is, like? The way men are in the world, secretly with, women of ladies of the night, shall we say. And, the Lamb of God says, they're all like got stones ready to kill her and destroy her. They want to murder her in the street, basically. And he goes, you think about how serious that is, guys? And I don't know if you've ever read the Bible. I have. I read it and studied it, like, And what a lot of people miss is, just before he makes his decision, like, they're all going, she's a lady of the night or whatever, and she should be stoned to death because she's breaking the commandments and she's a sinner, and she went to the laundress on a Saturday. Anyway, he stops and thinks about the situation, and he knows most of these guys probably knew her well. The word knew in the Bible, when they say knew or know, K-N-E-W, knew. They knew it well, you know what I mean? So obviously that's why they're all like, suddenly become like lawmakers, like, The wives probably found out or something, I don't know. You see, this is just a brooch and it's flying through space. in a mad scene, in a like, see that, you imagine them wings moving, the little lines making the whole thing fly. Right, that's how I've seen this like visionary experience, right? But as the story goes, the spirit, I call the Lamb of God. He wrote something on the ground with his fingertip before he said anything. He wrote something in the sand on the ground, like he had to think about it. He wrote something on the ground, and then he stood up and he said to everyone, "Those of you without sin, like one, throw the first stone. All yous, whichever one of you hasn't sinned, you've got the right to throw the first stone, like, and then you can all kill it." Like, he basically would have let them do it, wouldn't he? If they were like, but they're so guilt ridden, aren't they? They're all so like sin themselves, meaning they probably knew it. You know what I mean? They're all so guilt ridden. Not one of them can throw a stone. Like, they all have to drop the stones and walk away in shame. Like, because they're like, they're sinners. If you interact with a woman and then you start turning on them, what more do you have to do? You deserve a slap, don't you? And that's what happens. Like, he writes something on the floor, like, and then he says, like, go on, throw your stone if you've got no sin, if you're totally sinless. And he can't. They all drop the stones and walk away. They say, "Oh man, he's sussed us, hasn't he?" And then he says to the woman, "Go and sin no more." And she walks away, and apparently she never ever sins ever again. Right. Well, that's who that represents, isn't it? It doesn't represent it represents the, that's what this picture was called. It was called, it was something to, the way I was looking at it, like, was like, But anyway, I listened to an Oasis track, right? See, this is going to be a good little extended talk, isn't it? Like, that's all it is to me, right? See, that's what I actually saw in the visionary experience, right? At a certain place here in Birkenhead specifically. I'm in Bromber at the time with my headphones on, listening to "Bring It On Down" by Oasis, right? And for some strange reason, it triggers the visionary. Because I do, I meditate and stuff like that, and I get like visionary experiences. You know what I mean? And in this visionary experiences, how it has anything to do with the song, I don't even know what the song's about. "Bring It On Down." You know what I mean? I didn't read the lyrics when I was listening to it. I just know it had a thunderous element and a punky element and drums and everything. And it blew my mind into that like dimension of meditation. And I seen this, flying over black and white squares. You see, the shadow, the shamrocks I've added, that bit, the shadow is just telling you that it's off the ground. You understand? But I've got a thing about like shamrocks and stuff like that. I don't want to go too deeply into it. Not now. But the black and white tiles and the elements of a brooch that my grandmother or nan used to wear, like proper, it was a favourite brooch. They buried her with it, guys. They put it on her when they had the wake from our house and her body was in our living room, you know what I mean? And, you see your nan in a coffin and you think, "Oh my word," to go to bed and that, like, there's a dead body downstairs, like. But they actually put this brooch on her when they buried her and everything, like, do you get me? So it was never seen ever again. And I'm listening to this band without any connection, or it's the first time listening, I go, definitely, maybe, and it hits that track and it's suddenly, as soon as them drums come in, I just had this powerful experience, right? And it was set right here on the corner, not far from where I live. And this checkered squares, I seen that brooch kind of flying with a little lion like that flapping its wings. It was like the little lion was flying the whole thing. It was crazy. It was like a powerful vision, right? It wasn't a vision of Mary or nothing like that. It was a vision of the brooch that my grandmother used to wear. You know what I mean, right? that she got buried with. It was her favourite brooch. She wore it all the time, And she was very, Catholic driven. You know what I mean? Right. So, I sat down and I thought, whoa, what am I seeing here? Why am I seeing this? It goes over this checkered squares and stuff, right? And it's like the corner, it looked exactly like that, but I've added the shamrocks. And if you think of that as just a microsecond, you know what I mean? It's like it flew over the checkered floor and carried on flying like in a weird way, right? No, just put that down and say. And here's my dichotomy of it all, right? Here's my dissection of what I believe I was seeing there, right? Why the song triggered it, I don't know. Oh no, it was a little part of my brain, pineal gland, all that stuff, without any drugs, I might have been stoned, I don't know. But the track triggered it off, right? I tried to draw it as close to what I've seen. And the checkered floor, I'll explain, and where I believe it was like. Now, if you go to where I live, in Birkenhead, there's a pub not far from me called the Sea Dog, right? The Sea Dog pub. And where the sign is on the corner, there's like a thing with a sign. I think they've got a flag there now, I'm not sure. There used to be a picture of a pirate. The Sea Dog, what the Sea Dog is? It was actually the name of Blackbeard's ship. Blackbeard the pirate. And this pub, which was our nearest pub, which was my dad's local, and my dad took my mum for a drink, it was the local. It's right next to where we lived. Right. You used to have a sign there with a pirate that looked like Blackbeard. And it was quite scary at night if you went past it. It was like this pirate with a patch on his head. Showed the Sea Dog. A sea dog's actually a sea lion, by the way. Did you know that? They're not sea lions, they're sea dogs. But anyway, when I was a kid, when I was a child, this is my artist's dissection of what I believe happened and made me see that vision, right? It's not like a vision or whatever. It's a bit more of a visionary experience on a personal level, triggered by an Oasis track. Right. First time listening, I have to do. I do it on purpose. I avoid buying records and albums by people, or if an album gets released on YouTube, try not to listen to the album for ages until I buy it on a CD because I'd rather get the signal straight from the disc. You know what I mean? And I like that first time listen experience, right? But in this case, I borrowed the album off someone, and I listened to the album, and I hit that track, and boom, that's all I seen, right? I was like, whoa, what's that all about? What's that? This is how I worked it out in my head. I mean, as an artist, I'm a surreal artist. I do surrealism. Surrealism is like turning your brain inside out, isn't it? Whether it's a dream or a thought or a vision or a hallucination. Heavily into Salvador Dali, me, like guys. And now you got to bear in mind what I just told you about all these men wanting to stone a woman, like. Well, I used to mind the cars, the pub, the Sea Dog. I used to, when I was a kid, to get extra pocket money, because my mum and dad were quite skint. My dad was a gambler, so we never had any money, right? And we were always kind of like living on the edge kind of thing, Because my dad would gamble all his money away. All his beer money and everything. Well, he should have been getting pissed on. He'd gamble it like he was an addictive gambler, my dad. He'd sort of spend all his money in the bookies and then be pissed off all week with nothing to spend. And he'd rely on us or rely on my mum to get a bit of extra spends, like if we had it, like if we had any money. But to make extra money, because we my dad was a gambler in that way. What I used to do and what most of the kids used to do live around there, Birkenhead, downtown Birkenhead. They'd go to the Sea Dog pub And we used to do this thing called minding cars. And back in the day, this was before like there were all these restrictions, like wearing a seatbelt and drink driving rules and all that kind of stuff. Men used to drive to the pub in the cars, you understand, like. And that car park there, if you ever look at it on Google Maps, the Sea Dog pub, and you see the car park, it's never full of cars. But when we were kids, it was packed with cars, you know. They probably drive pissed. Do you get me? Obviously, a lot of drunk drivers back then. So we used to sit on the doorstep of the pub, where the lounge or whatever, the doorway to the lounge or the bar. As soon as a car pulled up, we'd run up to the person. It was like if there was 3 or 4 of us, it was like a race, you know, who got there first. And you'd run up to the person getting out of the car and you go, "Can I mind your car, please, sir?" That's what we used to say. No, I'm talking about like maybe from 5 years old upwards. This was how we made our extra spends, our pocket money, you know, because we were skins. That's how I got extra money to spend on sweets or whatever, or escorts. Stuff when I was 5, like, you know what I mean? Are you with me so far? Is everyone happy? I've said too much. Is it okay? Is you listening? So, people used to come in and you say, "Can I mind your car, please, sir?" And the person would go. And basically, it just meant if any vandals or any car thieves attempted to take the car or smash the windows or anything, we were like guardians and we'd run into the pub and say to the dude, "Someone trying to smash your car up, mate." You know, we were like security, like car park attendants, but we were just kids. And they'd go in the pub and they'd go, "Yeah, all right, lad, if you want to mind the car, all right." Some would go, "No, I don't need it, it's all right." But we recognised if someone went in that pub and said, "Yeah, you're all right, mind the car, lad." When they walked out the pub, you'd run up to them and go, "Minded your car, sir? I minded your car." And they'd go, "All right, lad," and they'd give you a shilling or a sixpence or a couple of pence. Back in the day, you know, back I'm 60 years old, remember, and this is like, we're talking like the 60s to the 70s, it's like late 60s to the 70s. I did it for a long time, right? Now, me and my brother were quite blessed because in our house, my mum and dad would let us stay out late. You know, because we were kind of Asperger's or something, you know what I mean? We had like we weren't like other kids where you had to be in at like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock and then in bed for school. We could stay up late. So, the usual rule of thumb was, even though the pub opened early in the daytime, you could be minding the cars in the afternoon as well, like, you know, but the evening, the night time, especially the weekend, was you know, when the cars all showed up and it was like you could make a killing, basically. And me and our John, me and our Skid, like, we were sort of blessed because my mum and dad would leave us out. Or, you know, because you only lived next door to the pub. You know, the house right next door to that pub, if you check it on Google, that's where we used to live. That's where I grew up. So we could just walk to the pub and just chill out. And we were right next to our house. So my mum and dad didn't worry so much, you know, that we were miles away or nothing. So that's why they didn't really make a big deal about it. Like. My sisters wouldn't obviously, you know, back then, I don't, like, my kid sister wasn't even born, you know what I mean? But like when it started, but they never minded cars. They weren't interested in any of that, you know what I mean? It was like a thing the lads all did in the area, you know. And me and John were blessed, like, because the other kids would get off early, like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever, you know, the mums would be out going, "Come on, you gotta be up for school." Whereas we could stay there until that pub closed. So that meant when the pub closed, everyone was coming out and you go, "Minded your car, please, sir." And you go like, "Here you go, here's 10 pence." Sometimes people were very generous and they'd give you 10p or whatever. Back then, that was like the equivalent of £1. But a sixpence or shilling or you know, like threepence. You know, this was like, remember threepence coins and stuff like that. It was like that, like, and you end up with a back, like your pocket full of money, basically, just from looking after people's parked cars. And I used to love it because, you know, I've always been into cars in an aesthetic way. Back then, you were like all over like Rovers and Minis and, you know, like proper Morris Minors and stuff like that. And I used to love doing it, and I did it more than my brother did. You know what I mean? I'd do it as much as I possibly could, like it was a labour. And I got quite a lot of spends for it, like, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of times I was hanging out there, I was on my own, and no one was there, and I'd get all the money, and I'd got all the cars, and I'd have like, wake up the next day and go, wow, I've got like 80 pence to spend, whatever it was. Tons of coins, you know what I mean? And then one particular night, um, you know, we used to see people going in and out of that pub that didn't have cars as well, like, and obviously we didn't harm them. And I always remember seeing a particular woman going in and out of the pub with dudes. In my innocence, I just think, you know, a woman's having a drink with these people, having fun. Don't think of anything serious, do you? And I got to know every single person that went in that pub. And like I say, back in the day, that whole car park was full of cars. Every Friday and Saturday night, you know. Usually throughout the week. And it messed me up for school and stuff like that because I kept going to bed late. But that's where it was in our house. My mum and dad couldn't control us. They had to leave us to it. And I was minding the cars one night. It was like a hot summer night. I always remember this, like. And the pub closed. You know, I got to the point where I gathered all my money. And the pub closed. And I had my pocket money and that, like, and no one came out of the house to, where's Bruce? Bruce, come on, you gotta get in, it's a bit too late. And I kind of wandered over the corner, like where the pub sign is. There was like old terraced houses in all directions, you know, old houses, like where, what's there now, like, I mean, how do we work it out, like? I still have to think about it, like, well, there's a row of houses there now, on Cathcart Street. If you look at the pub sign, and then you cross the road, and there's a corner, and then there's a row of terraced houses that go all the way up to Conway Street, right? But back in the day when I was doing that, they were old houses. They've all been knocked down now. They're gone, and they've been replaced by modern houses. Like, and the very first house on the corner of them terraced houses had the checkered, the old doorsteps with the checkered floor. You know what I mean? Like the black and white squares on the doorstep with like these tiles that were black and white. And I always remember going to the corner where the pub sign was and thinking, wow, you know, all the cars are gone. I've got like £1 in my pocket or whatever it was from minding the cars. I'm boosted today, you know, I'm going to be boosted tomorrow, like. And you know, a hot summer night when you just want to go, you don't want to, didn't want to go back home. I didn't want to go in and go to bed. I used to do some weird stuff, me guys, when I was a kid. Like, if it was a warm night, I didn't want to go home. I'd go for a walk or something. And like, there was one night my mum had to come and look for me. Like, I don't know if my sisters are aware of this, like, or you know, my brothers are aware of this. Like, this is one particular night where like I stayed out late because I found a big cardboard box, and I wanted to sleep in it. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, it was round here, like, just near where I live now. And I didn't even tell my mum or dad. You know, you're supposed to say, you didn't want to stay out all night tonight or whatever. Like, I was so off my head when I was a kid. I wanted to sleep in this cardboard box because it was a lovely warm summer's night. And I was in it. It was like a big, massive cardboard box, like the full, like, you know, I could fit in it completely. And I was lying down in that cardboard box, ready to go to sleep. And my mum's head popped in what are you doing there? Been looking for you everywhere. And I was like, oh, I wanted to sleep here, you know what I mean? She's going, you can't sleep in a box, what are you doing? I've been worried sick, my mum been searching for me everywhere, and I was like wanting to sleep in a cardboard box. That's an example of how mad I was when I was a kid, like. But this particular night, I finished minding the cars, and on the corner of the first house with the checkered floor, I sort of like wandered over the road and was just like nosing about like I did. Like I didn't go straight back home. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock, something like that. The pub had, closed and that. And I noticed sitting on the doorstep, because it's warm. You know the way in the warm summer nights people used to just sit on the doorsteps. You know what I mean? In these old terraced houses, like sitting on the doorstep was this woman who I used to see going in and out of the pub. And she was quite old. She wasn't like old, like, raggedy old. She was kind of quite middle aged. Maybe she's like 50, 60, maybe, I'm not sure. But she was quite attractive for her age, right? And she was sitting on the doorstep in a sort of nightgown kind of thing, you know what I mean? Because it was dead hot, like. I just sort of wandered up to her, like, and she just said something to me, like, there's always to say, you're out late, aren't you? Little boy, like, you know what I mean? Because I was only, like, I must have been maybe 6, 7 at the very oldest, maybe, I don't know. Because it is unusual, isn't it, to see a kid wandering around, especially sleeping in a cardboard box or whatever, like. And she sort of started talking to me, and I just walked over to her, sat down, like, the doorsteps, she's on the doorstep where the door was open, like. And either side of the doorstep, you used to have these, like, big, like a concrete, like, black type, like the sides of an armchair, and you could sit on them, you know what I mean? And they flanked the step. And I always remember just sitting down to talk to her, like, you know what I mean? To explain myself, saying, oh, I mind the cars and that, you see, and the pub's just shut. Do you know what I mean? And I recognised her, you know what I'm saying? She goes in and out the pub, doesn't she? She's one of the customers in the Sea Dog. And I sat down on the thing, and I always remember looking down on the floor and staring at the tiles because they were black and white. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what that represents. It's not like Freemasonic or nothing, guys. You know what I mean? It's like childhood memory. You know what I mean? Right. And remember, the woman who was talking to, right, she was sort of getting on a bit. And I did notice when she went to the pub, she seemed to be with different men. Do you know what I mean? But she was, I don't, you're like 7 years old or something like that. You don't think of these things, do you? So I sat down and I said, I'm out because, I only live there next to the pub. My mum and dad know where I am, like. And, I've been minding the cars and the pub's just shut, like. She goes, oh, you seem like a nice lad. And then we started chatting and she just started talking to me, asking me questions about where I came from, what I did, blah, blah, blah. And I had a really nice talk with this woman, you know what I mean? And I can't remember her name to save me life, I'll never remember her name, but she was quite attractive. She was getting on a bit. She still had it, she still had the looks and all that kind of stuff, like. I remember looking at her, I'm only a kid, remember, I'm thinking, she's nice here, I like her, like, But she was sort of like a grandma by my age limit. She was like a grandma. Do you understand? Like she reminded me of me nan. Do you get me? Like, you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Your grandmas. The age group, the way they talk to you and things. She didn't talk to me like my mum, like her age group. The way she was talking to me, she seemed like a grandma. You know what I mean? And I had this really long talk with her, like, you know what I mean? So sat there and it was like dead nice, warm summer night. And I'm not sure how late it was, but we waffled for quite a long time on the doorstep, like, and she said, like, hadn't you better go home because your mum will be worried about you, won't she? I was like, yeah, she probably will, yeah. I'll go back, like. But you understand, while I was talking to her, I actually loved it. I loved talking to this woman. She was really lovely, really nice. She wasn't like, you know, crass or base in any way whatsoever, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm staring at these black and white tiles, thinking, wow, these look like cool, don't they? You know what I mean? Talking, you know, if you think of the angle, like, she's there, I'm there. You know, she's there, and I'm here, like, sitting sat on the side of the doorstep, like, talking to her, like a right angle kind of thing. Waffling and that, like. Talking about anything she asked me, like, you know what I mean? And at the time flew, and I was like, you know, she started saying, I think, oh, you better get back home, haven't you? You know what I mean? I was, yeah, all right. And she said, it's all right, it's been lovely talking to you, you know, you're a lovely lad. Well, I was like, yeah, all right, Mrs. whatever she was called, I can't remember her name. And then I wandered back to mine, like, and knocked on the door. My mum was like, where the bloody hell have you been? I went and looked in the pub. She didn't think of coming over the road and just checking the corner. She checked. She went to the pub and seen I wasn't there, you know, in the car park or whatever, because it was closed. So she might have had a look elsewhere, you know, she might have seen where the cardboard box might have been or whatever, I don't know. And she goes, where have you been? I've been worried sick. I was like, I was talking to that nice lady, you know, who lives on the corner there. And they knew who she was and where she lived and everything, you know, my mum and my dad. And she goes, which nice lady? And I went, you know, she lives on the corner on Cathcart Street, you know, in the first house, up the first house. And she looks at me dad like that, you know, like, because they, you know, they both, my mum did drink in the Sea Dog occasionally with my dad, you know. My dad was a regular there, it was just, he basically would have lived there if he could have, you know. And I always remember the look on my mum's face, she was like, and she looked at me dad like that, like, you know, she was, the woman who lives on in the first house, like, you know. I was like, yeah. She was a really nice lady. Imagine me like 7 years old or something like that. She was a really nice lady. I liked her. I was talking to her, like. And my mum goes, do you know she's got like a bit of a reputation? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, have you ever noticed she goes in the pub with different men and that, like, you know. And I didn't even think about it, like, because I was only a kid. And my dad was like trying not to laugh. You know, it was like he looked at me once and said, bloody hell, our Bruce is getting, you know, off the starting block earlier, you know what I mean? And my mum was probably, she sort of like shocked. She was going, she's, you know, she's got a bit, she wasn't being harsh or rude or anything, but she was obviously talking to me in a way that, you know, trying to tell me as an infant, like, you know, as a 7-year-old or whatever it was. She's like, she's, you know, she's had a few men, Bruce, you understand, like, she, you know, that's what she does, basically. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't, and I was like adamant, I was like, yeah, but she was really nice and I liked her. I could have sat there all night and talked to her, if you know what I mean. And she reminded me of like me nans, if you know what I'm saying. Do you get me? Like the age group, like a nan, rather than my mum's age group. So like, now when I listened to that Oasis track and I started meditating, I saw this like, and I seen what it looked like it was that actual doorstep in the vision. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think about it when I was listening to it. I just remember thinking, wow, why has this song made this happen? Like I saw that fly over the checkered floor. and then fly off in this weird, surreal way. Like, it's a surreal thing, like, And so, that's, because she was meant to be like a, shall we say, a local Mary of Magdalene type character, like, that people might have wanted to, like, throw stones at, if you get me, like, locally, like, but she's alright, she was dead nice. You get me, like, and I believe, and like, them houses are long gone. I actually remember going in the same house when they were bombed. That, what they call bondies, when they're derelict and they're empty. And she'd have probably been dead by then. You know what I mean? Because she was quite old. I remember going in the place and being sort of scared, thinking, "Wow, where ghosts might be here." Like, you know what I mean? Quite spooky and weird. Like, honestly, I remember being in the house and someone winding me up and knocking on the door outside to wind me up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Whoa, what's that noise?" But when I listened to Bring It On Down by Oasis, it took me to the doorstep. Like, then the houses had long gone by the time I had that experience, and I wasn't round here. You know what I mean? And so I've seen this, like, me grandma's brooch. The age group of what I believe is the Mary Magdalene character. Like, it was like, reputation. They wanted to stone her to death. You know what I mean? But she wasn't bad, if you know what I'm saying. Like, she wasn't really bad, was she? If you get me, like. Well, she was like the local Mary of Magdalene, you know what I mean? And I never knew when I was talking to her. I didn't think. I didn't think. I always noticed she had different men when she was going in the pub. And she was drinking with them and stuff. But it never crossed my mind, like, But there you go. That's the story, guys. That's like, now, as a surrealist artist, I know why it all happened, why I seen what I saw and all that, like. And the way it works, it's just the way it works on you. It's like a personal memory, isn't it? Like a childhood memory, like. Which I'm really fond of. I really love talking to this woman, honestly. I actually thought she was like, I didn't want to go home. I loved it big time. I was thinking, oh man, I think she's really nice here, man. But she reminds me of me now. Of one of my grandmas, you know what I mean? Because of the age group. She was quite attractive. But I was only 7, like, you know what I mean? So, and I always wondered about, like, thinking, she might have, like, took advantage of me and I wouldn't have known about it, like. But she didn't. She was really lovely, like. But you don't judge a book by the cover, do you? You know what I mean? And let them amongst you without sin throw the first stone. I think it was something to do with that, the collective thought wave and that, like. Why the Oasis song triggered it off, I really don't know, like, but it was like a very powerful experience for me, like, And I traced it to that. I was like, wow, that was that, like, that's because that night I spoke to her, wasn't it, I'd love to remember her name. It pisses me off, I can't even remember her name. She told me her name, obviously. She asked me mine, she said, what's your name? Like, Bruce. She's like, oh, that's a lovely name, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And my mum was proper pissed off with me, like, as if to say, Bruce, she's off her head there, she's quite fly. And I was like, I was sort of arguing with my mum. I thought she was really nice. She was. Never judge a book by the cover, like, guys. Extended beer review over. What do you think? I don't know. Storyteller. Crazy stuff. I mean, she'd be long gone here, mate. She was on her own. Do you get me? When she lived in her house, she was alone. There was no kids there. There was no husband, obviously. And I just see her as an old friend. Do you know what I mean? It's just like a little fond memory. She was really nice to me and kind. So there you go. That's the story. What's the story? Morning Glory. Hey, by the way, I've eaten Morning Glory. Have you ever had Morning Glory? Do you know what it does? Alright, thanks for watching. Cheers. I'll have to get off because this has gone over an hour. Tell me what you think. See you later. And wherever she is. out there somewhere. You know, I don't know if I've ever. If you check out my video on YouTube, it's called Paranormal Activities, right? And I had an experience where I was abducted to a graveyard and surrounded by dead women. A lot of dead women, like, you know. And I don't know, just seem to get on with them, you know what I mean? Paranormal Activities, check it out on my channel, like, and you'll see the story of me being taken to a graveyard. But she'd been long gone here, you know what I mean, like years ago. She'd have been long gone by the time I listened to the Oasis track, and I don't know, by the time I became a teenager, you know. But it's kind of sad because she was such a nice woman, you know what I mean. She was, honestly. I actually saw like a real side and that, like. But to me mum and to everyone else, you know, she was like the local Mary of Magdalene, you know what I mean? She had a reputation, you know, wherever she is anyway, you know. I thought she was, I hope it means something. She was a lovely woman. Never judge a book by its cover. Getting off, thanks for watching. See you later. Hope you enjoyed the story.